Hi there, welcome to me, Jules Brown, and my off the cuff reviews YouTube page. I'm going to take these off because they're reading glasses and I can't see you. There you are. I'm going to be reviewing an album from 1975 called Higher Than High, which was by the Undisputed Truth, Norman Whitfield's outfit. They actually did two albums in 1975. Did the Undisputed Truth. This, I think, was the second one of the two. The other one was called Cosmic Truth, and this album, Higher Than High, was the last album they did on Tamla Motown before Norman Whitfield took them away to form his own record label, Whitfield Records. So this was released on Gordy, which is like a branch of Tamla Motown, in 1975. My copy is a European copy, so it's just a Tamla Motown German or Dutch copy that I've got. And the album will be reviewed asunder. It's a great album. What more can I say about them? It's the last album, as I say, that they did before Norman Whitfield took them away from Tamla Motown, and Norman Whitfield then also formed Rolls Royce, which was on his own record label. So the album starts off with Higher Than High, the title track, very psychedelic soul start, with this boom chicka boom vocal line, high energy. It's like disco meets funk, but it's 1975 now, so it would be early disco, wouldn't it? But it's got some of the drumming in it. It's got that sort of disco rhythms. So disco meets funk. What can be better than that? It's got Bootsy Collins-like vocal. Now, on the album does credit all the musicians, but it doesn't credit the singers for some reason. I can't see their name mentioned on the back of the album anyway. And for your delectation, I'm going to mention them at this stage of the Undisputed Truth. The singers were Joe Harris, Virginia McDonald, Tyrone Douglas, Tyrone Barkley, and Calvin Stevenson. And one of these guys has a very Bootsy Collins voice, So I think they were in a band, because the lineup of Undisputed Truth had changed over the last couple of years around this time, and a couple of new members have been in a band who were a bit similar to Parliament and Funkadelic, so there are those similarities in the vocal lines. And that's track number one. Oh, what's this? Diego Maradona's life off the field was like a jail. Mario Kempes. I don't know why that's bobbing up on my thing there. That might have interrupted you. I hope it didn't. Anyway, back to the review. Poontang starts off with a drum machine and funky bass line. It's like a more disco orientated version of Parliament, the band Parliament. Nice brass, squelchy wah-wah guitar in there. A few guitarists who play on this album, actually. While I'm at it, I might as well mention who they are. The guitarist Johnny McGee, Kenji Brown, and Melvin Wah-Wah Watson. So there you are. So that's track number 2, called Poontang. Track number 3, Life Ain't So Easy. This has got a very slow fade in, synths and congos, and then it fades out into the actual track itself. Hard to tell whether it's part of the previous track or if it's part of this track itself, track number 3. There's a recurring theme to the album. There is at least 4 songs on this album that are like remakes or slightly different versions of have similarities at least to Papa Was a Rolling Stone, which of course was a Norman Whitfield stroke Barrett Strong song, originally done by an earlier incarnation of The Undisputed Truth, made more famous by The Temptations. Track number 4, Boogie Bump Boogie. Boogie Bump Boogie sounds like an old country tune, doesn't it? This has got a rocky funk glam feel, very up tempo, lots of guitar noises, synth noises, explosions, very tight, fast funk with bells and whistles, and literally with bells and whistles as well. Gets a bit freaked out towards the end, very psychedelic, and suddenly there's a little explosion and it finishes, and the record ejects, and you think, oh, what's happened there? But yeah, revolutionary stuff. Side 2 begins with Help Yourself. This is almost, well, it's got a bit of a country feel, country rock feel, a bit like Little Feat or something like that. You can tell it sounds like a Fender Stratocaster to me. A bit looser, a bit more of a loose version of Little Feat, perhaps a bit more black, like a black version of Little Feat. Bridging, I think this one bridges the genres a bit more, even though they bridge the genres between soul, funk, psychedelic, rock, and all-out rock. This one kind of goes more down the middle ground, I think. Even into the sort of country rock feel. So it's quite an accessible track in that sense. Track number 2 on side 2, I'm in the Red Zone. This is a track and a half. Psychedelic disco, more psychedelic disco than psychedelic soul, I'd say. Electric guitar solos, busy Bisto, busy disco beat, drum beat, sort of the drummer, what's he doing? Part disco, part proggy drums, but he's like filling and throwing in a few complicated stuff that would have been more suited to sort of maybe early Genesis or something. There's some really complicated stuff going on in there, and then also then he gets on a disco groove. So the genres are all meshing together on this track as well. And the rock guitars are never too far away as well. Track number 3, Overload. This is a bit more rhythm and blues. So a bit more conservative, small C, if you like, but still with a disco beat, with the bootsy stylized vocals in there again. And there's a bit of a vocal that sounds a bit like Larry Graham from Cameo in there as well. Drummers working overtime. Which drummer is it? Well, there's three who play on the album. Henry Garner, Butch Asvedo, and James Gadsden. So it could be all 3 drummers playing on this track as far as I'm concerned. But Overload. That's an interesting number. Track number 4 on side 2, I Saw You When You Met Her. Now this is a very interesting exploratory, quite interesting track. It's not too long, it's only about 4 minutes long, but it starts as if it's going to be an epic, but it doesn't last too long. It's got an atmospheric bass guitar at the beginning, fuzzy guitars, brass come in, slow and laid back track, lots of synths in there, quite a lot of space. You can hear. I've mentioned this before in a previous review, actually, when I reviewed an Isley Brothers album, that I could imagine Was Not Was covering this Isley Brothers song from 1969. Now I can imagine Was Not Was covering this 1975 Undisputed Truth song. Definitely. Again, it's a bit Papa Was a Rolling Stone, who I believe was covered anyway. Great soulful sound, great vocal performance by those vocalists that I mentioned earlier. Pyrotechnics, lots of fancy studio Norman Whitfield ideas going on in this one, and lots of nice space in there just to make things interesting. So that's track number 4, which is called "I Saw You When You Met Her," and the last song on the album is another epic. Actually, it's called "Ma," reminiscing about Ma. Atmospheric synth in the beginning, congos, percussion, bass line, organ sound. There's an organ sound, scraping guitars like he's scraping it up here with a plectrum perhaps. Wah wah guitar. Now we all know who plays that wah wah guitar, don't we? That's right, Melvin Wah Wah Watson. There must be so many guitarists with the surname Watson. If you're born Watson, you're going to be a good guitarist. It's as simple as that. Sparse variations again on Papa Was a Rolling Stone, and then we get this slapped bass, serious bass playing. I'm sure this bass playing on this song is so influential on so many early 80s British white new wave bands, of the early 80s, with those fancy disco influenced cool and show offy sort of bass. I've just lost connection here. I'm coming back to you. Yeah, as I was saying, air bass playing a la Alan Partridge, definitely. It's got screaming psychedelic guitar sounds, big fuzzy synth sounds. Yeah, it's just and reminiscing about Ma in this awfully funky last track on the album by The Undisputed Truth, and there is the album. Yeah, it's a for want of a better word, it's an awesome album. It's an Orson Welles album. It's an awesome album. It's a good one, and I think you can't really go wrong with The Undisputed Truth. Their earlier albums are more famous, perhaps, but those two albums they did in the same year, Higher Than High and Cosmic Truth, are definitely worth a listen. So I'm going to give it. I think I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, 8.5, definitely. And there ends my reviews for this year. Sorry about any faux pas, any little pregnant pauses, any references to my notes or anything like that. But that's the way I do it. And I've been encouraged to do this by my brother, actually. So if you're wondering why I do it, it's all his fault. And this is the last one I'm going to do of the year, because I think I need a rest. And it does take a bit of time out. It does take some research, and I'm not the best at remembering information. So that's why I have to take notes and refer to my notes down there. But it's been a pleasure to have you on board this last month or so, because I've only been doing it for about a month, maybe. But I'm going to take a rest for the rest of the year, and hopefully you can all enjoy Christmas. And it's been a terrible year for a lot of us, but very strange one. But I'm wishing you all well, and there you are up there. And yeah, all the best to you. And if you want to register, then do subscribe by pressing the subscribe button, and that'll be appreciated. But as I say, I think I'm going to take a rest. You can watch the rest of my reviews, any of my other reviews, then please do so. That's very much appreciated. But for now, I'm signing off, and probably speak to you again in January of next year, when we hope that things will be better. Anyway, thanks a lot for listening, and take care of yourself, won't you? Look after your loved ones. Bye-bye.